Hi, everybody. I'm Jen. I am a compulsive overeater. I weigh and measure 3 meals a day, committed to my sponsor. Don't eat in between, no matter what, since July 18th, 20 or July 26, 2018. And I'm just really grateful to be asked. Thank you, Stephanie. It's been a bit since I've qualified, and I really feel like I do it as much for myself as for other people because I need to remember it's been just over 5 years now. I need to remember where I was and then how I got here and how I keep it. I need to keep saying that over and over again because one of the things I heard in Gray Sheet is I have a built-in forgetter. I forget the pain because my disease wants to tell me, come on back. It's not that bad. And I'd never want to be so bold as to believe that it wasn't as bad as it was. So where was I? Where did I come from? So I came from big numbers. It was a progressive disease. I definitely wasn't big numbers quick, but it was a slow death, as I think I described it, try to describe it to myself, because it was a daily choice to continue to put food in my mouth that just kept putting the pounds on and created very adverse health effects for myself at a young age. So first off was in middle school with the hormonal change. That's really when the pounds started going on for me. I mean, I ate indiscriminately up till then, I would say. My personality is more anxious, and it's kind of a family history. Others in my family struggle with it as well. And especially social situations, if I was uncomfortable or if I had something that was new, food was really helpful to me to distract me and feel like I was fitting in. So like if the kids were all there and partaking in the things, and then I would have that and more, and then I could go play, and it was really comforting. It was distracting. It gave me confidence to there's just the sugar. The sugar made me excited and took over the fear and turned it into excitement. I have noticed, and so that was one of my early coping mechanisms. School, work, it turned into work as I got older. My first job, I worked at a pharmacy, and when we got the discount, and then after the big holidays, everything went on sale, so I would grab it all. And I most definitely was a quantity, like continuous eater at certain times when people weren't around. That was kind of my deal. In particular for school and growing up, after school was TV, homework, and whatever the food was by my side. I have early memories of eating things to the point of it being hurting. I'd have certain fruit that I would be like physically in pain, doubled over with gas pains and in the bathroom. And my mom's like, well, why did you keep eating it? I was like, I don't know. Or I'd walk into the kitchen and grab another slice of something that people would eat with other things, not just it. And my mom's like, why are you eating that? I'm like, I just want it. Like, I don't know what to tell you. And I was very ritualistic more as I got into my heat. So let's fast forward ahead to like college and then post college. I would have routines, and it was really comforting to me to eat things in a certain order or a certain, I don't know how to describe it, but I had this innate feeling of not feeling like I fit in good enough. And by doing the food, where it was just occasional, like it would be always just after school and then that would be it. Or I would have a sweet at school, but like normally kind of thing. And then I was more restricted to certain times. But post college, after breaking up with my fiance, living alone for the first time, working and feeling like I don't know how to do life, it was exponential. I went from like 5'5". I went from the 200s. I like hovered in the 180s, 200s all through college. Post college, post the breakup, I went up to, in no time, 250, 260. And that's when I found OA in my mid to early 20s. And I pretty much just sobbed on my first 3 meetings, and like people were saying and feeling and talking about how their feelings and food and how it all can interconnected. And I'm like, you people are my
That's 5
people.
minutes gone.
Thank you. Those you people are my people. Like you're saying and talking and like, and there was an acceptance some people had of like, this is a disease, it's not Jen. And that was really important step for me to understand this is not a moralistic thing. I really, really thought I was deficient. I was broken. Why is it that when every diet failed, my mom has always been overweight, type 2 diabetic, quadruple bypass, like we have all the family things, all the family history, but she stayed in that like mid 200s. And for majority of my adulthood and even childhood, like she never kept going, like she just maintained. So we would do our diets together, and because she was a diabetic, I even tried this diabetic diet with her to help encourage her. And oh my God, guys, I lost weight so freaking fast. Who'd have thunk? Diabetic diet. It's very similar to what we do, except they do carbs but count them. um and I didn't crave anymore. Like, I mean, I still wanted to eat at times, but that was my first glimmer of like that diet in conjunction with OA saying, okay, first off, I'm not a horrible, terrible person that is incapable of maintaining weight. Like, this is not a character defect. Like I am a good person. I just have an eating problem. And understanding, okay, well, certain foods I can't stop eating. Like I literally like helping to identify those foods that were problems to me. The issue after 7 years in OA, after getting into the down from, I peaked at 306 was the last time I weighed myself at a doctor's office, down into the 190s in OA. There were certain foods I still couldn't say no to. And when that pink cloud disappeared after a year in OA, I could not for the life of me get it back. I just couldn't. I kept failing. I kept having day ones. My sponsor like went through the steps with me several times while I was eating, because she was like, well, let's just keep trying to see like why you eat. And it's like, but I just couldn't put down the food. And it was because there were certain foods that I was unwilling to not have, and to admit to my sponsor and be honest and say, I can't eat that thing because I'm thinking about it all the time, or I'm not thinking about it, but it's why I get up in the morning. I don't know how else to explain it. Like, I literally only got out of my bed and took a shower today because I knew I'd be eating that thing for breakfast that I had committed to her. So now, fast forward to Gray Sheet, I had up and down in OA. I met this GreySheeter. I had never heard of it in all my years in OA. I met this GreySheeter in the unlikeliest location and unlikeliest scenario. And knowing now how many years I've known her, it is mind-numbingly impossible. It is literally a miracle that she shared her program with me. Like, because she just doesn't. She does. It's like there's like that part of her life, and then there's her program, and those never combine. And we met on the part where that doesn't combine. And I can't believe that she told me about GreySheet. And at the time, I said I had sort of an abstinence back in a way, and I was like, that's good for you, but I can't like do that. Geez, like there was a certain thing that I was like, meh, this one's okay with me. I'd finally really kind of gotten the big ones out of my diet and had some semblance of abstinence, I would say, but I wasn't willing. 2 weeks later, guess all what I was doing? I was binging again. And I was like, I can't believe it. I thought I finally had it. It had been, I think, 9 months or so. And I was like, I finally felt like I got this back. And then I was binging 2 weeks later, and I sent her a text, and she's like, who the heck's this? Because we had really not texted before. And 3 or so days later, I think it was, after like the common things you mess up, not knowing what I don't know, or like thinking it's no big deal and not telling her, like I didn't know. I had my abstinence state, and it's been 5 years, and my life is completely different. My brain prior to Gray Sheet abstinence would go through extended periods of I hate me. Like, I had this rumination where it would just go over in my head over and over and over and over whenever I made a mistake, when I think I said something wrong, when I thought someone didn't like me, like because I'm a very people pleaser is my inclination. And I just would be like, anytime I did something that I didn't think was right, I would just hate me. Like, I had a really hard time with self-acceptance. And self-esteem. And now I have very rare occurrences of that. And if I do that, I now know GreySheet has told me if I have a thing that is harder, like if I'm not just like doing the normal things and thank you, I see you. That's a trigger. Like that means I got to talk to someone. I call a GreySheeter. I talk about what's going on. Half the time I'm better at it, but half the time I didn't even know what the problem was until I start talking. I'm a very verbal, like talk it through kind of person to understand my feelings, because I just had been eating and pushing down my feelings for so long. I have a hard time identifying them. So by talking it through with you people, doing the calls, going on meetings, hearing what you guys like, half the time I think I'm learning about myself when someone says, oh, and I did this recently, or I learned this about myself. I go, oh, I do that too. And I didn't know I did. So I love GreySheet's mottos, don't eat no matter what, because that was revolutionizing my entire program. Was this idea of like, you do it anyway, like you shop and shop anyway, even if you don't feel like it. You eat your meal, even if it's like a number one because you had to, because like there was a life circumstance, like you do it anyway, and then you know another meal's coming. You make it the biggest, the best, the yummiest, the like, you know, like I was going through a rough time at work and I ate my X thing for dinner every single day, and my poor sponsor must have gotten so bored because it was the thing that just hit the spot. And I love that I can love my food now and not hate my food, like, because I love that I can now taste my food. I don't know if you guys really realize that, like I so overstimulated my salt and sugar like senses in my mouth that I truly couldn't really taste a lot of stuff. And then after about like 3 months or 4 months, I had a fruit for the first time in GreySheet, and I had literally no idea it was as sweet as it was. I had no idea. I never really liked it because I was like, well, it's okay, it's fine, but it is so yummy. My taste buds have completely flourished. I love that I can have the biggest and the best bowl. Like I have the biggest bowls, I have the best like kitchen equipment. Whatever can make me look forward to doing the chopping, the food prep is what I will do for myself. You know, I have the really nice set of knives. That was an investment, guys. If you haven't ever used a really nice knife from somebody else, or you don't have a really nice knife, it corrupts you. I went to a GreySheeters house. I used a really nice knife, and like 3 months later, I caved and bought my own, and it life revolutionary. Just do it, guys. I know it's expensive, but it's worth it. Because I want to keep doing this one day at a time for the rest of my life. I don't know how to live when I'm not doing GreySheet. I don't know how to make decisions or like have a higher power, any chance of having a connection to my higher power without going on the meetings. Like you guys are my tribe. You guys get the crap that people say about what you do or don't say about what you do. Like I love that you can pick up tips and tricks on meetings. My favorite, I like saying this at the end of my qualification is like that tips and tricks. So like someone told me, if you're going out to eat with someone, especially a work of function, and they don't know, they haven't done this thing with you, done the food with you, put your scale out on the table first thing. And that way you can have that conversation. They can say whatever they want. You can push it off, move on, and then immediately change the conversation. Oh, what are you going to get for food? Or like change the conversation then. So that way, when the food comes and then the scale's already out, you don't have to be distracted by them going, well, what are you doing? Why are you measuring your food? And I can just focus on prepping my food and taking care of what I need to do and then eat my meal. It has saved the day. Was terrified of a work function this one time, and I did that, and my boss he was so, oh God, but my client that was at the meeting, immediately we bonded. His daughter has all these food problems, and she has finally found something that works for her, and we bonded. It was amazing. I didn't share what I do really, but I did say that, yeah, I have food stuff too. So you might not have this. I've had the complete opposite situations too. Another tip is if you forget your scale at a restaurant, just ask them if they got one in the kitchen. I've done that a couple of times. It has saved the day. I've had scenarios where I almost was this close to just not eating and having to eat when I got home, but like they had a scale. They brought it out to me. You make phone calls, tips and tricks. If you have a question and you're like, oh no, I don't know what to do, you just call. I'm at a restaurant. I borrowed the scale. It was a digital scale with decimals that went to the thousandths place. And I was like, oh no, because it kept bouncing between 0.001 and 0.998. And I didn't know what to do. I was like, good God, do I round? I don't know. And I called my sponsor. She's like, what's it on right now? And I said, thank you. And I said, it's 0.998. And she's like, done. Poof, you're done. And I'm like, you just make the call, guys. Make the phone calls if there's questions. You're not alone. And if your brain is telling you something that your gut is telling you is not right, just make a phone call, like ask someone else, because I need to get out of my brain most of the time, get out of my own way. Enjoy your food, love your food. If you get bored with your food, ask someone what do they love to eat. I love that trick and tip. And anyway, I'll close up with just saying I don't eat no matter what. Do the thing anyway. If it's going to be healthy for yourself, even if you don't feel it, take the shower, do the thing, watch the TV show, whatever it is, so you don't go into the kitchen, stay in your bedroom, close the door, like do what you do until it gets easy, because I promise it will get easier, 100% guaranteed that the obsession will slow down, and then it'll get easier and you'll get stronger. So anyway, I'm going to stop talking. Thanks.